You're listening to the Off Harbor and Maine podcast. Hello, and thanks for listening to the Off Harbor and Maine podcast. I'm Joel Covey, coming to you from the Tropical and Ice Studios in Orange County, California. Today, on episode 6, I'm joined via the interwebs by my close friends, Beth and Derick today. How's it going over there?
It's going good.
It's pretty awesome.
Good. Well, let's go around real quick. I know we're short Matt tonight, but we still have a couple other people drinking. So what do you got over there, Beth?
Okay, so today, I don't know what this is called. I invented this drink, but I made a simple syrup the other day with strawberries and rosemary. Ooh. So it's strawberry rosemary simple syrup with vodka and some sparkling water. And I gotta say, it is extremely refreshing. And to be extra fancy, I put it in a martini glass. So I'm feeling real fancy.
Damn.
Yeah, and it has a pretty color to it.
Yeah, it's like this pastel pink. I'm loving it today.
You're getting good at this.
She's gonna post it later, and you're gonna it's just rosé. It's nothing else.
But the taste, strawberries and rosemary, it's so good. It's really refreshing. It smells very summery.
See, this makes me want to start planting rosemary and other basil and stuff in the back so I can use it for my drinks.
Make a whole Tomorrowland right on your patio.
Yeah, all edible plants. It's a good idea.
Exactly.
Derick, what do you got over there?
Well, I was going to lie because I didn't have any ideas for fancy drinks, and I really wanted a fancy drink, but I was going to say that I had some martini cocktail or a gin and tonic, but I'll be honest, I am drinking an Estrella Jalisco mango michelada with clamato. It's actually pretty good. I know that people have some feelings about it, and it's not everyone's favorite, but I'm enjoying it tonight, so there you go.
It sounded fancy, so
you enjoy that drink.
I will.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Well, Joel? I'm going to my go-to. I did a Manhattan, so nothing too fancy. Nice. I threw a little OJ in there because I didn't have any fresh fruit, but I do like a little citrus added to my Manhattans to take down the bite. So I have a little OJ in there, and it's pretty good. Can't go wrong with it.
And also in a martini glass, so
it sounds delicious.
Nice.
Yeah, looks good.
Well, everybody, cheers.
Cheers. Episode 6. Here we go.
That's good.
I may need to make another drink quick. All right. Well, especially after today's news, we were going to skip over this, but I don't know how we not mention it, just because it's such a big deal and it's been talked about so much leading up to this date. But we got to mention Splash Mountain with the news that it's going to be becoming a Princess and the Frog rethemed attraction.
And we have not actually even really had a chance to discuss our thoughts, just amongst ourselves, really, because everyone's been working today, and so none of us have really even shared our thoughts yet.
I haven't really even processed it. It really just came out a few hours ago, before us recording this, and I've been busy all day long, and I'm just having a chance to wind down. So my thoughts right now is really my first chance to really talk it out.
Did you get to read the press release itself yet?
Did you okay. I read the press release. It was well worded. And I mean, they did it in a way to make it not seem like it was in direct reaction to everyone's response to, or everyone's feelings currently on the backstory or the relationship that has the Song of the South. But I thought the press release and how they're wording it, I think they did a good job. I know they're saying they've done it for a year, and people online are trying to say, no, there's no way they've been working on it for over a year. But I think the concept art's pretty darn good. I don't think they just randomly, people are talking about it right now. Let's get this out. Let's get the sucker going. And within 3 weeks of people starting to really talk about it online, we're going to go ahead and announce that we're changing it.
Well, the concept art itself was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I would put that on my wall. It's beautiful.
Anything from Princess and the Frog, I'd put on my. I think all the background art and the cells are beautiful.
Yeah, it's true. So for me personally, I am cautiously optimistic, I guess.
That's perfect.
I'll say, for my own personal preference, I don't mind Song of the South being rethemed. I'm fine with that. I would have. Oh yes, Splash Mountain. I don't mind. I don't mind Splash Mountain.
I think we all want Song of the South rethemed.
Yeah, that should just be rethemed. No, I don't have any problems with Splash Mountain being rethemed. That's fine. I wish that Princess and the Frog could have gotten an attraction that was built from the ground up directly for it, but I understand. Two birds with one stone. We'll take out this thing that's problematic from the beginning, retheme it to this. Okay, whatever, that's fine. But I'm really excited to see, the people who are like heading it. Sharita Carter, which I believe she did the Runaway Railway. I believe she was in charge of that.
Right.
Tony Baxter coming out.
I saw they're bringing Tony Baxter back for this. Yeah.
All the original voice actors coming back to voice their parts, and it takes place after the final kiss in the movie, so Tiana gets to be a human, which is
no frogs hopping around.
Always I love the movie. That was always my gripe about it. So I am cautiously optimistic to see what will happen. So I'm kind of excited. Plus new music. The music was so good anyways.
Did they say there was going to be new music?
I believe they said there was going to be new music as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I hope so.
Don't quote me, but
new. And that's my challenge I have with any of the current like super Disney or IP direct attractions where they have it obviously it's good. This is not a retelling. They've learned the lesson. They know they can't just do a retelling of a story, but it's tough even for Frozen Ever After, even though I love that attraction, actually. It's tough because it's the same music, and I feel like I'm not getting anything. I just like the originality that comes with an attraction with score. Yeah.
And if they, took a couple of notes of the original song, that's fine. But having that new score, I think will really bring it home.
I really wouldn't mind even if they did take the original music, because that music was really
it is so
fun.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good. And so, to put it into a ride will really get you in the mood of it. But yeah, I think, reading through the press release and the fact that it's based off of them preparing for Mardi Gras, I think is a really nice twist to it. And yeah, kudos to Disney. I think it was a really courageous move on their part. I know that it's tough to take a classic ride. I think if you guys remember from one of our previous podcasts, we talked about our favorite rides, and Splash Mountain was one of them. So it is hard to let it go, thinking about my childhood and growing up on that ride. I really wish that there was a way to have separated that from its origins, you know what I mean? And from the controversy that it's stemmed from. And in and of itself, it would have been perfect. But I understand the reasons for why things need to change. And I love that they went with this theme. I think it's perfect setting for what they need to put.
I think it's the right theme, especially for Disneyland. I know there's challenges with putting that in the Magic Kingdom because of its location and being right next to the Big Thunder Mountain. But I struggle still with everyone's concerns with it being tied to this problematic movie or racist movie. I mean, let's just say it. And by all means, I understand why the movie is considered racist. However, I still have a challenge with talking about, hey, we need to change this because all the characters in the attraction, while they're in the movie, they don't relate to any of the actual problematic parts of the movie. And Uncle Remus is not in the attraction. And yes, he voices Brer Fox, I believe, but he's not in the attraction. And those items that were controversial from the movie that no one really has even seen. I mean, I've seen a bootleg version. I know, Beth, you've seen it as well. But I mean, 98% of the people that go on that ride don't even know the relation to it. And I don't know if anyone really got offended. And I understand and I respect everyone's opinion on, hey, if this does offend somebody because of the racist undertones to the movie, then I understand that. But I just don't know who was actually offended by it. And I'm sure there's somebody.
I think another thing that you probably don't even honestly think about, but the language that is used by the animals, even just the name Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear, it's, oh my God, I can't even think of his name right now. But the author who wrote it, whose name we'll find out later, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's white, but he wrote the stories down in using like a minstrel style of speaking. So even the characters themselves and the attraction are using the minstrel way of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself is problematic. We know, the whole minstrel, entertainment sector was very racist. So even just the words that are being used and how they're pronounced and how they're said are based off of minstrel acts, which I know that when it was made, wasn't really something that was thought about. It was, it's entertainment, it's fine. But just now knowing a little bit more about it, I can see why people learning more now are saying, oh, wait, that is offensive. Maybe it didn't offend them before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't even realize, but just now learning things because people are taking a step back and learning more about the entertainment that they consume are saying, oh, wow, wait a second. Maybe that does offend me.
And see, that's where I think my ignorance comes into play, because I understand that the voices being used, even though like the voice of Brer Fox is by a black gentleman, I still don't. I mean, I myself don't know enough to realize that, hey, the backstory and why these inflections or this accent, for lack of a better way to put it has racist undertones, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's crazy to think like even this, actor was totally okay with using these inflections and using this style of voices, but again, it was so close to that time period anyway.
Right.
This movie's from 1946.
And really, I mean, he's a black actor trying to get work,
Right. Yeah, I get it.
At that point in time, you really can't be that picky either. And I think that's really just the main thing is we can't know everything. We can't understand everything. But as long as I think everyone is just like willing to be open and like listening to other people, then, I think we'll be okay. As long as we're willing to listen. And thankfully, if we're going to replace it with anything, The Princess and the Frog is such a wonderful movie that...
Agree.
I really think they can do it right. I'm going to go a little deep on this, just with the style of new attractions that Disney has been doing. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but for instance, Frozen Ever After, with how clean everything is, or even Radiator Springs Racers, like it's just everything is so pristine and clean and perfect that to me it takes me out of the actual attraction, because like even with Splash Mountain, or let's look at Pirates is a great example, Haunted Mansion, even though they have dust in there on purpose, yada yada, but it's not perfect. It's not everything is crisp. Go ahead.
Everything has that texture. It has like I don't know. I think I know what you mean. Like when I think of Happily Ever After, oh my God, was that what it's called? Happily Ever After?
Frozen Ever After.
Frozen Ever After. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything seems to me smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just everything just looks smooth, and there's just no projections and this and that. So I feel like the depth of the characters and the depth of the story and background sometimes isn't there because you're missing all those different layers of fabrics and just all those different things that make the story.
And at least we know with the retheme of Splash Mountain, I'm sure they're going to keep a lot of the stuff inside, at least of the landscape, of the hanging plants and stuff from the ceiling and everything. I'm sure a lot of that's going to remain. If anything, they're just going to plus it. It just gets concerning when you think, oh, they're probably going to do some projection mapping and they're probably going to do some other things. Is likely that you're going to lose that texture that we love from some of the classics.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, when you talked about Frozen Ever After, is that
yes.
what it's called?
Why do not we know the name of that ride?
Not Maelstrom.
I did notice how the projections, even like the faces of the characters are like super bright and they don't match the bodies. It was one of my like annoyances, and I get what you're saying. I hope that isn't the case for Splash Mountain, but I think that it is already so textured and layered that they can't change it too much, because they're already changing the whole theme of it, that if they went too far to one direction, I think it would just kind of totally lose the experience of itself and totally be different from what we have today, which is such a great attraction. So hopefully it doesn't change too much in that direction.
Do you guys think they're going to make that whole area New Orleans Square, obviously in Disneyland, not in Florida?
I think they're still going to call it Critter Country because it still works with the side characters of Princess and the Frog.
Right.
I think you can still have it Critter Country. I'm sure someday down the line, we'll see some type of retheme of Hungry Bear. Of course, we would love Tiana's, but I don't think that's going to work unless they truly flesh out.
They would have to they would have to like seriously demolish that building and
right
build
and
it from
start
the ground
over.
up. Yeah,
I mean, maybe
And
if
she
this
was a critter.
Maybe
Right?
before COVID-19, before coronavirus, I'm sure it would have made sense that they could just go all out with it right now. But I don't think they're at that point of going all in with something. But hopefully they do with this retheme, and I think it'd be awesome to see some of even the new audio animatronics that we're seeing over at Tokyo, like Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, that would be amazing.
So if we get a Belle like audio animatronic for Tiana, I mean, I guess that's a win then.
Yeah, definitely.
Without a
put that in the
projection
win.
face.
Exactly. Yeah, Tokyo's not getting the projection faces. They're getting the
They're getting the real. They're getting the real stuff over there.
Real moving parts.
All right. Well, let's move on. I mean, I know we could talk about Splashbound probably for all night and do a whole episode on it, but that's not why we're here. Before we get into what we're really here for, though, I did want to bring back our new segment. Not everything is shit. So, Derick, did you have anything for this week?
Well, my days have kind of been in one after the next is kind of all the same these days.
Yeah.
But I actually was able to go back into the office today, which surprisingly was a positive for me. I know a lot of people, complain about going to work, whatever. It's kind of cliche, but I enjoyed it today. I had a really good work day by all accounts. And that was, for me, for my mental health, was really important to highlight, I think. And so, take the good with the bad. And I just really enjoyed my day at work. So that's my
I hear you.
happy news. Yeah.
People, right? That's always nice.
A good day at work is always a bonus.
Something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Did you have anything, Beth?
Well, actually, mine is something that I'm looking forward to. So I have been social distancing hardcore. My husband and I both work from home. And literally, I have not seen anyone aside from waving to someone from a parking lot in 4 months, at all.
Oh, crazy.
It's a long time. So, but my cousin has also been doing extreme social distancing. They work from home, and I'm going to get to see them this weekend, and I'm super excited to actually see someone. And neither one of us has seen anyone besides our immediate household family in over 2 weeks. So I'm super excited to see a person.
Yay. Baby steps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah. Well, for me, I think I'm stealing what Matt may have mentioned, because Matt told me about this show and I was not interested in it because from the trailers, it didn't look that appealing to me. I thought it was overdone. It's a story that's been told before. But I finally started watching it, and it's Hollywood on Netflix. Beth, did you finish it?
I did not. I have not finished it yet. No,
yeah.
but I am
Derick,
enjoying
you watched it.
Yeah, I finished it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if everyone agrees with me. Now, the first episode, by all means, I got on Matt. I'm like, Matt, this is awful. What did you have me start watching? It is incredibly cheesy, terrible writing, in my opinion, and it's all about sex, and it's just pretty people on screen being
sexy.
Yeah.
I thought that was all that it was going to be about.
So I was
and you
really
were like, yes.
Eric was like, yeah, this is what I'm for. But I was like, okay, well, Matt, I'm like, what is it that you love so much about this thing? Is just keep going with it. He kept talking about how much he loved it, and it's only a 7-episode limited series. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I don't need to commit 5 seasons here. It's just 7 episodes. So I went on to the second episode, and it started getting a lot better, and then a little bit deeper and more relevant to today's society, and that speaks volumes, because this was made so long ago, well before everything that's gone down over the last few months. So I was really impressed with how much it speaks to today. It spoke to back then too, but now it is even more relevant than ever. But getting through all 7 episodes, I was impartial to a lot of it because there wasn't a lot of conflict. There was some bad things that were happening, but it would so quickly change and turn into something good. And then all of a sudden, these great things kept happening to all these characters. And we're talking about people that have struggled with racism and sexism and all these types of different issues that we experience even today. And I was like, well, why do I still love this so much, even though there hasn't been a buildup as to why this should affect them so much or as to why I should care so much. And I realized we already know this story. We already know why these people should be affected this much by having this role come to them or having this big aha moment where somebody treats them fairly. All these things that ended up happening where I'm like, okay, there hasn't been much buildup. They didn't show the struggles they had much leading up to this point. But they don't need to show that anymore, which is kind of sad that we have become so accustomed to this story and we know the problems that exist in America that seeing these things happen to the people, we don't even need the backstory.
We
just
already
seeing these
understand
positive things happen is like, oh my goodness, this is awesome to see. So it's just, from episode 3 on, I mean, there's definitely still issues that occur in each episode and it still follows a normal formula, but there's still so much positive that it felt like the right thing right now, that it was something that I was really craving and something that was really nice to see that kind of brought up my spirits. So something I definitely recommend if you can just get past that first episode.
It is really good so far. I can't wait to finish it.
Oh, I kind of ruined some things there, I guess.
It's okay. If I know good things happen, that just
ends
makes
tragically.
That just makes me want to watch it more. I have a really hard time right now watching anything that's like sad and depressing or like really dark. I just have a really hard time getting through anything like that. So I prefer to know that it's positive mostly all the way through. So
right. All right. Thanks everybody for your not shitty items to talk about. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But let's get into what we're really here for. We're off to the sky, off to the blue sky, to Armchair, Imagineer, Disney California Adventure.
My favorite.
Hooray.
Yes. We'll try not to be too cringeworthy. I know what it is like to hear others dream up of what they would like to see at the parks, only to be shocked by stupidity of some people's wish lists and ideas. Well,
excuse me.
Yeah, no, let's be real. We've all been there.
Is this a sabotage setup?
I feel like it is. I feel like you just called us stupid.
Well,
Wow.
Just wait. I was going to say, it's probably going to happen again for you. So I hope you're ready.
Wow.
Because I'm sure we're going to say some stuff that one of you is going to roll your eyes at. But
Oh,
we're
you
still
have
gonna
little
do it.
faith.
I always try to avoid these armchair, even listening to some of these, because I get so frustrated listening to others. I'm like, that's not reasonable. That's not realistic. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be reasonable either. So getting into this, DCA has flourished into a beautiful park, has had some momentous improvements and some pretty big mishaps. Definitely right now it's on the right track at times, but we also just got Pixar Pier. So it still doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think it ever will, and we've already had a whole conversation about that. But, so let's start this off. After the Avengers campus, and for the sake of this show, we'll assume the Avengers e-ticket will still eventually get built. It sounds like it may not right now, but let's just assume it will someday. So here's what we would like to see DCA do next. It's Disney California Dreaming.
Wow, that was cheesy.
Wow.
You're right.
So
Put
Derick,
the pressure on us.
how about you start us off?
I will. Well, I do want to preface this by saying that some of these ideas are stemmed from like original DCA and what I would have loved to see the direction of the theming go. I'm really excited with where they've taken it, with the exception, like we said, of Pixar Pier. But yeah, I know in a previous episode we talked about Pixar Pier quite extensively, and one of the things I did bring up there, just to give an honorable mention, was the Coco Tunnel of Love ride. I would really, really love to see something that is extravagant with all the bells and whistles, a water pirate style ride going through Pixar Pier. I think would be incredible. But I know I talked a little bit about that before, so I'll stick that one to our Pixar Pier episode. One of the things that I was really hoping to see, I've been imagineering this thing, and I think others have too in previous lives, but it would have been really great to see either in Condor Flats, when it was Condor Flats, or even now in Hollywoodland, a Rocketeer inverted style roller coaster. And I know that maybe not many people have seen the Rocketeer, but I just feel like it is such a cool theme in and of itself. It's not the most popular idea, but the idea of strapping a rocket to your back and flying through on a roller coaster seems really fun to me. And just the whole theme from the Rocketeer itself. If you guys have both seen it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I have. Such a good movie. Like,
right?
They should be pushing that a little bit more.
It's old Hollywood.
There's Nazis. Any movie with Nazis.
Well, yeah, they're the bad guys. As long as they're the bad guys, I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, right? So we win in the end, FYI movie. But yeah, it would have been cool to see them take that to some extent. I mean, it does happen in California after all. It takes place in Hollywood, and it has the whole history. It has the whole vibe of what they were going with all of these old references to back in the day. And so it would have been great to see something to that effect. And maybe even throw in the Bulldog Cafe or the South Seas Club restaurant as a restaurant idea to kind of complement that. I thought would have been really cool. So that was one idea I had. Did you have a thought on that, Beth?
Oh, I was just going to say the old Hollywood and Dine building would be perfect for, another themed restaurant. It's just sitting there so empty, so sad. So
yeah. I mean, and that kind of is a good segue because next on my list was a full-fledged Hollywood plussing. Like, I just feel every time we think about these armchair Imagineering projects, Blue Sky, I always circle back to Hollywoodland, and I'm sure you guys might have had this on your list too, but like, what in the heck are they planning to do with that area, right?
Yeah, it's on my list too. A Hollywood Pictures backlot. Let's pick a time period. Like, when are we?
Yeah. I mean, and so it's great.
It's neon lights too. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, a little too neon, but I mean, anything, just even an announcement would keep me happy. Even if they say, okay, well, this isn't coming for 5 more years, but at least to know that they are actually thinking about what to do back there would kind of like scratch my itch, so to speak. I mean, they keep adding different things to everything else, but Hollywood from the beginning has always felt so neglected and sad and just lonely.
Kind of like real Hollywood, really.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. So that's just, I would just love to see, of course, in that Hollywood Studios area, like it can't just be a glorified bar area with shuttered
buildings,
attractions,
and Monsters Inc. Like that's so random, right? I mean, at this point, I would have loved to have kept Superstar Limo, because at least it would have been Hollywood.
They've got, I made a little note too, because I was thinking about the same thing. They have the Hollywood and Dine. They have the Monsters building, which can easily be used for a great attraction. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire building, the PhilharMagic now. They have all that whole big space. Like, they own everything now. Disney owns literally like almost every single entertainment. Make us a great movie style ride that goes through movies. Like, it would fit in so well there. Give us something like that. There is
no reason not to do a great movie ride here.
Yeah, they have so much space. They own everything. Like, they have a monopoly on everything. They could make something really amazing and actually utilize the space, make it feel like Hollywood, make it feel like California, bring it all back. Yeah.
Full circle. We're bringing it back to California to Disney California Adventure.
Yes. They should take the stars from that Netflix show you were talking about, Joel, and make them into a ride. You know what's funny? When I was watching that show, just to tie it into this, is I kept thinking about Hollywood Tower of Terror. They had some scenes where the bellhops were wearing the costumes, and I just reminiscing of the good old Twilight Zone days.
Like that first episode when he goes into the Beverly Hills Hotel and he goes into what's-her-face's room with like all the palm trees, like the palm wallpaper. That is like my dream decor. Like all the Blanche Devereaux like decor. Give it to me. I want it.
Well,
anyway.
Derick, just remember, we still have Tower of Terror, and we will still have Splash Mountain. We just need to go to Tokyo Disneyland.
There you go. And that should definitely be on our bucket list, guys, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and so, speaking of Hollywood, I know that there have been thoughts about Avengers taking over Is that even a real thing, or is it really just going to be limited to Avengers Campus? I don't know if they're planning to expand
I think
that
they
past the
originally
borders.
were wanting to go, and I'll speak to this a little later. I think originally, at least the rumors has always been, Avengers and Marvel was going to take in that back corner, and then the Eastern Gateway project was going to help expanding that area. But with Eastern Gateway being canceled or shelved for now, they can't do some of the plans they were planning on doing with extending out that the gates, if you will, of that Hollywood Studios area. So I think it's going to be limited to Avengers Campus for now. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding.
Yeah. And so aside from Hollywood, I think what I would really love to see is them commit to extending the trolley all the way through the park. I would love to see it going down the parade corridor, if that's a possibility, and just make it a real transportation option for DCA. I think it would be really cool to see that, zipping down its path.
A little bit of that kinetic energy going through.
We need more of that. Never can get enough of that, right? One thing that I would have really liked to have seen too is them to have expanded the San Francisco theme. I really enjoy San Francisco as a city and think it in and of itself, there's so much charm to it. And I'm really bummed when DCA first opened up, and we did have Golden Dreams, but just to have that one little sliver of a pathway that didn't have anything in them except just offices behind those facades, and now the restroom, of course. But really could have they really could have done so much more with the San Francisco theme, and so one idea
I gotta put in my artwork into Luminaria.
Me too. High five. Air high five.
Wow. Okay.
Also, I did my cash register training for Main Street right there in that building. So it's very dear and near to my heart.
Those all sound so special, guys.
It was for everybody. Everyone took advantage of this.
So magical. And I really don't know now where they'd place it or if they can move it anywhere else, but it would have just been a nice compliment, I think, to the California theme, if we're wanting to stick to the California theme and what they were wanting to do with it. One idea I had, this was way before they came up with the whole Runaway Railway name. So I think, Disney, I'll take credit for that one. Thank you very much. But I had envisioned a runaway trolley ride. San Francisco is known for the trolley systems, and what would it have been if you're riding up the hilltop on a trolley and suddenly the brakes go out and you're careening down and thinking you're gonna crash into the bottom of the hill, but for whatever reason something magical happens and you're saved. And I don't know, I thought maybe that could tie into some of the more current or relevant things that they did. Big Hero 6 comes to mind, if we want to kind of flip the San Francisco theme, and they did the whole, what was it, San Fransokyo?
I think so, yeah. San Fransokyo, I think so.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Yeah, something like that.
You got it right. San Fransokyo.
San Fransokyo. And, Disney loves to tie in their properties to everything. And so why not have done something creative like that? And along the same lines as the Rocketeer style ride, they could have done something along the lines of the scene where Baymax, starts flying all over San Francisco, and you probably strapped on top of him and flying around, seeing different things. Hyper soaring over California adventure, so to speak.
Well, Derick, maybe you're forgetting, but Inside Out takes place in San Francisco. So basically,
there you go.
If you go on Emotional Whirlwind, you're already in San Francisco.
Oh man, yeah. Everything cannot tie back to Emotional Whirlwind. I'm sorry. It's its own little sad thing in the corner there. But yeah, they could have made that into a San Francisco area too. So yeah, there you go. Those are some
be a
ideas.
Negative Nancy. What? It's all good and fun until that actually happens in real life.
The runaway
trolley, and a bunch of people die, and it's this attraction at
oh my gosh.
It's like why Superstar Limo had to
I was going to say, we did not get the Superstar Limo of our dream.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, Derick. I like your ideas. My ideas also centered a lot on Hollywood Pictures backlot. So I kind of gave my idea already, but I do really think that we should have a great movie ride, California side. I mean, why not? It should be there. Something like that, some sort of thing. But my other thought, because I also really want to bring it back to the whole California, unless they're telling us a name change of the park, I want it to come back and encompass California, is I want a Golden Dreams, the ride. I want like a something with lots of animatronics, something similar to Pirates of the Caribbean style or Spaceship Earth style, where there's all these different scenes of things that have happened in California's history. You kind of have Calafia coming in as your guide through the history of California. A remixed version of Just One Dream. I mean, like it writes itself.
And they already have the Whoopi dolls.
They've already just. Well, they'll have to take out some of those Monsters Inc. ones and put the Whoopi back on the CDC characters. But yes.
Where would you put this?
I don't know. That's not I'm blue sky imagineering. I build a second level. I don't care.
Okay.
Maybe they could take out the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail.
Oh, I love that area. Take out.
We may not use it all the time, but I know the necessity of that.
Honestly, take out The Little Mermaid. I mean, as much as I personally love The Little Mermaid as a movie, take it out and put something bigger there. I mean, they'll have to like take up more space. Take up Derick, San Francisco area. We don't need it. They're not using it for anything.
The Little Mermaid could have gone across the way in the pier itself, and then
Yeah,
and now it's Pixar.
But I would just really like to see more things relating back to California. Little Mermaid has zero to do with California. Pixar Pier has zero to do with California. If they're going to keep the name California Adventure, I just want it to kind of relate a little bit more to California. Agreed.
Yeah, we need that California theming. It's frustrating that it's.
I mean, honestly,
no
when I heard California Adventure, way back when they were first talking about it, I'm like, why do you need California in California? But now that there's less and less of the California, I miss it, and I do understand. I do get it. If you're coming from out of state, you want to go to Disneyland. I don't have time to get the whole California experience. It's expensive to go to Disneyland. I don't have time to tack on extra days.
Well, we can't even get the California experience living here. So
exactly.
There's a romanticized version.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would love to see some stuff.
The clean Hollywood streets. Like there's not like poop on the ground when you're walking around LA. Yeah, right. Let's get that.
Well, yeah. I mean, when they did the whole reboot, it was brilliant. I thought like, wow, they finally figured out how to bring the California theme to fit in with Disney theming, and and then we get Pixar Pier.
I know, man. But I think the first thing they need to do really is to pick a time period for Hollywood Studios. Give us a time so we know what's going on.
I feel like it was talked about where they said this was going to be or like maybe it was phase 2 of the redo. I don't remember, but I thought they were talking about making a specific time period for Hollywood Land, and I don't know why they have not gone anywhere towards that. But I guess if you did that, you couldn't have like adventures back there.
I mean, I love the adventures, but I still feel I feel like there's enough of a separation, like Hollywood or what's it called? The Tower of Terror.
Mission Breakout.
Mission Breakout. I can never remember the name. Mission Breakout is far enough away from the rest of Hollywood Studios. You have to go down that path. You have to go past the Hyperion. It's far enough away. It doesn't need to like.
Yeah, just put a sign and boom. It's
that's fine. I don't even include that in the Hollywood Land. That's part of Marvel. That's part of Avengers Campus now anyway. So I mean, you like how they had Avengers and all like the meet and greets in the back lot area or in the Hollywood Studios area. That's where I'm like, if you go just all in, you can't have Avengers in there.
Put them in these extravagant, like the feathers and stuff, like the 1940s, like movie stars, just extravagant costumes.
We got Peggy Carter.
Put Peggy Carter and just make it the 1940s Avengers and
Captain America. Here we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's all there.
Yeah. Was there anything else? Was that it?
No, that's it. Okay. I'm done. If I don't get my Golden Dreams the ride, I don't care about it.
Well, thanks, Beth. So before I read mine, I posed the question on Twitter. Just what's the one thing that you would want to see beyond Marvel? What's the one thing you want to see DCA move forward with? So this is what I posted on Twitter. Here's just some of the responses I got. So our Money the Bomb stated, revert to Paradise Pier 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
If
please.
not, If not, I'd love to see some new life put into the animation building. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the animation building.
Yeah. What would you put
Love
in the
those
animation
ideas.
building? I mean, it's so beautiful in like the first level inside, and they just kind of like let it all go to crap at the
Well, it doesn't
bottom
help that the
levels.
Sorcery's Workshop, Sorcery's Workshop.
Sorcery, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you lost that last segment that most people I don't even think knew existed.
That was
not a
the
lot of people
best
went there.
part.
It was
I
so
know.
cool. Well, it was nice and dark and just it was really neat. And I'm sad that we don't have that anymore. And it was just nice that it was one way and you go through it and then you exit. But it would be nice for them to kind of build upon that and kind of flesh that out a little bit further. At Mario Graciotti, he stated, retheme Hollywoodland and all its facades, repurpose the unused sound stages, PhilharMagic for something permanent and unique to DCA.
Yes, Mario.
I don't think anyone disagrees with you.
Love that.
Oh, we are on board.
Yes.
Sorry if I say this incorrectly, but at Adurin in 1989 stated Ink and Paint Club, table service, restaurant, and lounge. And then Mario Graciotti responded back with a Silly Symphony dark ride and a Fantasia live show. Big yes. So
Oh man, that's perfect.
Those are great ideas.
doesn't that work
The
perfectly?
themes,
Yeah.
Yes.
You can
And
do
the
so
Ink
much
and
with it,
Paint Club would go so well in Hollywoodland.
right?
Yeah, so well. Yeah, I love it.
Next to animation courtyard or animation building. Yeah. There's
I'm on
a lot
board.
you can do with that. So good ideas there. At Disney Lover _152 said more family friendly rides, Coco, and
Hey.
there we
Coco.
go. And major Hollywoodland refurbishment. It just needs more life. Redo facades, add new rides, etc. So I think we're on board with that too.
Yes.
He also added that Monsters Inc. land desperately needs an overhaul. So I
That's
think he's
sad.
kind of on to, he or she, is on to something where, yeah, it's pretty much just Monsters Inc. land back there.
Yeah.
It needs a complete redo.
Disney, take heed. I
Are you
mean,
listening?
there's a theme going on here.
Oh yeah. I mean, I really, even if they just redid the whole side of the Hyperion and made it a building, like in that quick Imagineering scene when they were announcing all the plans. You guys remember that?
And they lifted up the back.
They
and
lifted
then
it up and it's like,
There's
"Gee,
a new backdrop.
surprise."
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, we still
Someday,
need that phase
one
2
day.
or whatever of that.
Yeah.
At Alex Kiddo said, bring this bad boy over from Hong Kong. And he posted a pic of Mystic Manor. Theme it to either
Ooh.
Winchester Manor or the
Winchester.
manor up in Eureka.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
I was trying to think of a way to incorporate Winchester,
Mhm.
the Winchester Manor, and that's a great way to do it. Something similar along those lines. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's tough to figure out where you could possibly put it. But maybe in that winery area, just because,
Just build a second level.
yeah, second level everywhere. That's all we need.
I mean, it could probably go in like the Paradise Gardens area.
Excuse me, that's my
right?
favorite. That's the only thing that's still good.
I mean, no, don't take away the beer garden, but like, you know, I mean, you can get rid of Goofy Sky School. No
That's
one really
true.
cares.
Well, you could
But,
extend
you know-
the San Francisco style street along where Little Mermaid is and change
There you
Little
go.
Mermaid into Mystic Manor.
Yeah, I'm
I mean, and
Plausible.
isn't Mystic Manor, like, didn't they get the inspiration from Winchester?
Yes.
Am I crazy? Yeah,
That's my
right?
under-
So it's all,
Don't quote me on that, but I thought they took a lot of the inspiration from Winchester.
so fits right in.
At Daniel James 87 said more of a southern berm, redo of Hollywoodland to ditch the studio concept and more of a romantic fantasy of old Hollywood and utilize unused sound stages for at least one large scale dark ride. So kind of what we've
Yes.
already talked about.
Exactly.
We'll talk more about the berm. He also said lots of opportunity for different scenes, gags as we navigate through the cursed sound stages. So he's on to something there.
Oh.
Mhm, I like that.
And then just on to my favorite from Sam Carter, or also known as at Carter. Oh, shoot. He says he gave the backstory of this. I think it's at Cartar Sauce. I think that's his
Tartar
name.
sauce, yeah.
Cartar, yeah. But he just simply said a berm. And I'm all for that. And I think DCA definitely needs some type of berm. It doesn't have to be a dirt berm, kind of like what Disneyland is traditionally known for, but just something blocking out a lot of the outside world. But let's get into this. So for me, I want to start off with, it's amazing how superior DCA has become over the years. That just to think not so long ago, we would have all been pleased with the long running rumors of Rock and Roller Coaster going in the back along Monsters Inc. and Hollywood and Dine. That was rumored forever back in the early and mid 2000s. And I think a lot of us would have been fine. But could you imagine if they ended up putting that in there and kind of what it'd be like now?
You know what? If they took the shocker out of the pre-show, I don't even want it.
Yeah. It's
what's the point now? No, there's no reason to even go on it.
Yeah, it would kind of stick out, I think, like a sore thumb.
But with everyone else, I added, let's expand Hollywood Studios section, but into the East Tram area for the Toy Story parking. This is what I was just talking about. It was originally proposed when the Eastern Gateway project was a thing. Unfortunately, that was canceled. I'm going to blame all the businesses along Harbor Boulevard that don't understand the benefit that would have actually brought Eastern Gateway, but that's for another subject, and now we're getting political. But the Eastern Gateway project would have allowed for another parking structure over on the other side, on the eastern side, and then you would have walked across over a bridge to the tram loading area, and the security would have been over there on the other side of Harbor Boulevard. And then when you came over, you just went straight in, and therefore they could have expanded out the back area of Hollywood Studios and made a whole fleshed out additional theming, additional area, maybe another each, whatever, but they could have really expanded on that area. And I think there was even blueprints or some type of plans that were revealed that this is what they were looking to do with that Eastern Gateway project. And unfortunately that fell to the wayside, and hopefully that is something that does return in the future, because I think there's still a necessity for that, just to have the additional parking over on that side. But if they did do this, of course, we need to close Monsters Incorporated and just demolish that whole stretch. I don't want them to put something new in that building.
No, just use all that space. There's
all that space.
So much space.
Now
no one cares.
Now here's me being realist. I know we need to have some type of flex space for businesses and corporate companies to come in and do whatever, which is stage 12 or whatever. That's what they use that.
The old Millionaires building?
Yes, thank you. So I know they use that space a lot for those type of events. And I know that is necessary, but let's try to retool that and figure out another place, because you have so much land there with like 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings that are really rarely used. If you include Monsters Incorporated, I think we could really tear out the whole area and do a lot with that theme. You know, we always talk about continuing the theme of a romanticized Hollywood of the 1930s, and not focus on a working studio look or theme, but rather the Hollywood that we've always dreamt about. I think the issue with that will be the Me Too movement. We have to be careful with that, because the Hollywood of that time did have a lot of issues back then. And we even saw like the old casting couch sign that was definitely not okay to be to be in a Disney park.
But I really don't think the casting couch was really romanticized. That was a little too realistic.
Yeah, it was just realistic. It wasn't romantic. Right. Yeah. So
question though.
Yeah.
So do we really need a corporate building? I mean, I understand from a business perspective, but like I just feel like it's such a cop out to use space for a park for that purpose. Like go to the hotel and then walk to the park when you're done.
Yeah, they've got all these rooms at the hotel. I mean, not like rooms, but they have like ballrooms and conference
rooms. The convention center. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you could definitely do stuff at the convention center. I know at peak times they can be using the convention center and some of these flex spaces. I know, look at 2003.
And it's not like that.
Laughing Place, we used that back area of Big Thunder Ranch as a great spot. And that was strictly just a kind of a corporate events area. So I think a space is needed, but it doesn't need to, when you have that much potential for an area, I think it needs to be.
Don't take
sacrifice.
I understand they need to make money, and I understand that they need to find a place to make that money. However, there's too much potential and that area is too dead. And I feel like make that park, it will go exponentially better if they retool that whole area, right?
Agreed.
Right.
But I was adding on here perhaps more of a celebration of Hollywood and LA in general. But regardless, there does need to be an e-ticket in that back corner. And I think everything would kind of start to come together just by having an e-ticket back, maybe Hollywood and Dine, and going out into the tram area. I think that would really help. But if we go into this a little bit deeper and we talk about the berm that so many people have already kind of talked about online, I'm really big on needing to have that separation, just more trees, block views from the outside from the parks and vice versa. So my challenge has always been with DCA, when you walk in, you go left into Hollywoodland, and you're just following that street of where the tram area is, and you're not disoriented. You know exactly where you are. Maybe just because I go often and I'm familiar with the lay of the land, but you can see it easily. And when you're coming into the park, you can also see it. So like you can see the backside of Soarin', and you can see, and while it's themed ish, you can still see it, and you can still see the studio backlots and the buildings from the other side or outside of the park. I feel like if you didn't see that and know exactly where you were when you came into the park, it would give that little separation and kind of escapism from the outside world, where right now I think DCA lack. This is something I'm going to kind of fault Knott's for, even though I love Knott's Berry Farm, but it reminds me a lot of Knott's, where you go into some of these areas, you go up on any type of attraction, or even in like Camp Snoopy, and you go up on towards the back there with the Ferris wheel, you are right next to the street, and if you go up 10 feet, you can see the street perfectly.
Yeah, you see everything.
Yeah, the claim jumper.
I remember the last time I went there, when we were leaving, you drive on the street out, and it's just like a chain link fence. And
right.
Logan's going, oh, I rode that ride. I rode that ride. Like she can see everything. It's like no magic.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's not a real problem for like Knott's Berry Farm. It's fine. But for DCA, I feel like it could be so incredibly better just by this one fact alone. If they just blocked out some of this area. I know, like, we have Incredicoaster, we have the Pal Around, you're going to be able to see Catella and the outside world. But I feel like a lot of the area, when you're not on these attractions, you can kind of block it out a little bit further and create some type of separation. So just some trees, just something to kind of block it out from the outside as well while you're inside. But I think that's a big part for me, is just trying to create that, hey, I'm coming up to DC, I only see the entrance, I don't see Soarin', and I don't see the backside of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right?
Right.
I think that's a really good point. I never really stopped to think about it, but nothing about seeing those buildings excites me about going into the park. I don't see the billboards of Hollywood and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to be going into Hollywoodland, Right. And so, yeah, I think that's a very good point. Like, to block that off.
Even the backside of, oh my God, what's it called? Not Tower of Terror. What is it called?
Mission
Guardians.
I'm going to put a little sticky note right here so I can see it.
Obviously not your favorite.
No, well, actually, I really liked it. It was really fun. But even the backside of Mission Breakout is just so, like, they just left it so plain. Like, I get it. You don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on theming the backside of a building that you can't see from inside the park. But even just driving up and seeing, like, the backside of it, you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
A building.
And that's something that even Animal Kingdom faces with Everest,
exactly.
And everywhere else. But you're right. You're right up against that. And then, like, if you look at Indiana Jones or Indy, the back isn't themed to the front. So when you go up, let's go back to 2000 or 1999 when there was a parking lot. You still saw the building, but at least it wasn't themed to a temple. You just saw, it's painted green flats.
They tried to blend it in a little bit at least.
Yeah, but you don't know what's in there unless you know too much. But it doesn't make you totally understand, oh, there's Indiana Jones and there's a show building for it. Instead, It's just it's just a building there, and you don't understand that's how that incorporates into the park. And even the new hotel going up behind Pixar Pier on the other side of Catella, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but the architecture actually blends in with the pier. So I'm okay with this one. I know a lot of people want to not have that visible right there, and you can see it just right through Incredicoaster, but it blocks the convention center. So I think it's a win-win, and it does kind of, I think it's themed just as well, if not better than how Paradise Pier Hotel looks from inside the park.
Well, that's good to know. I do remember seeing that last time I was there, and I think it was still, like, it wasn't done yet. And so I was super worried because I could see it so obviously through the Incredicoaster. Yeah. But I'm glad to hear that it's at least themed to complement and blend in a little. So
I think it really blends in well. It has that, I don't know how to explain the architecture, but I think it fits for kind of a boardwalk feel. And I'm going to look down even further down the road. I'm going to go a little far here. If the Eastern Gateway gets built, a new parking structure is completed, and when someone finally gives up on the garden walk.
Oh my God, just let it die already. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It is really sad.
Yeah, but
It's depressing.
I think there is a real potential for a third gate over there. There are hotels and apartments that would need to be purchased, and I know there's plans. There's hotels going on top of Garden Walk, but I wouldn't say it's impossible for that third park to still happen. And I'm not talking like in 5 years. This is like 15, 20 years down the road. But you can still put a long hotel along the Garden Walk, which essentially is what the original plans were, but you have 2 stories. Instead, just have the hotel there. You have still some stores on the bottom, and then you can have the mass transit that we've always wanted, going from Disneyland over to what is now Toy Story lot. But I think it's doable. I would prefer it not to be some water park, but if it's a third park with the right transportation from getting from DCA or from the main entry plaza over there, I think it's a solid idea.
It could be a park with water, aka Disney Sea.
Well, let's just get that over Long Beach. Let's do this. But I think, we're all talking about, and the theme is obviously we need to redo Hollywoodland. So obviously Hollywoodland needs to be done. But after that, it's crazy to think about how much has changed at Disneyland over the course of these 65 years. And even if you look back to like the 70s and 80s, you feel like you knew like, yeah, there's still so much potential here. You have all this other land. I don't think DCA has anything further beyond this area behind Marvel Land or Avengers Campus. And then hopefully they could extend out to the Eastern Tramway area. But besides that, then you are already starting to get into, well, it's just time to start knocking down things and put something new there.
Yeah, they really have to utilize the space that they already have very wisely. So that's why, use those like 4 buildings that you have in Hollywoodland.
That's where
Don't
it's
be
at.
dumb, Disney.
Did anybody want to add anything else for California Adventure?
Nope.
All
Good
right.
luck.
Well, then let's move on to our next part of this. It's still blue sky, but it's going to be about the further end of downtown Disney. So the end of where ESPN Zone is, Disneyland Hotel, Rainforest Cafe, that section. But I wanted to ask what we thought we could possibly see down there and what we would like to see happen now that, any type of hotel going in that spot is really up in the air, and who knows if that would ever happen. But
What do you think, Joel?
well, so now walk with me, if
Okay.
you will, okay?
All right.
I will.
So come with me on this journey.
Come away with me, Eureka.
Eureka. Wow.
So before we go down this path, just keep in mind, the parking structure has now been built in the Simba lot. So this is where everyone will park in downtown Disney, over there. Forget about the parking lot that we all know of right now, okay? So you have the new parking structure, and now we're coming from Disneyland. We're going across the bridge, across Magic Way. We're just passing Tortilla Joe's. The Lego store is still there on the left-hand side. But after we passed it, everything else is gone. All right. As you start walking on what's now the former Rainforest Cafe and the ESPN Zone buildings, you notice they're absent. They're completely gone. Instead, you have a lush landscape with evergreens that slope down into an eco lake sized body of water. So think of like the Eco Lake. Is that right?
Echo
Lake. Nestled up to the lake is a walkway just slightly above it. Okay. So you can either go to the right to more stores and restaurants that curve around the lake. And if you hang right, that's where the current new walkway is. So it's already built. That's the walkway that takes you across the street, up the ramp. So it takes you up across to the Pixar Palace parking structure area. So there's a lot of space here. And this is where a value-like resort, I think, could go. It's
Thank you.
Yeah, we need a value
This
resort.
was like my one idea.
No, shoot, I'm sorry. But
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Paradise Pier Hotel, which is no longer a value resort because it's too expensive. There's no more AP $99 deals that, wasn't that long ago.
They were so nice.
So I did not take advantage of them at the time. But we could do something really cool back in the area. You could do Atlantic Dance Hall size dueling piano, entertainment area, like Beth loves that we talked about in our last episode. You could have restaurants still there. You definitely need an anchor store because there's a lot of space. That parking lot is not that small. So there's a lot of area to grow. But I think what would be really cool is maybe maybe a Thunder Mesa resort. And now hear me out. Thunder Mesa, not Thunder Mesa like you know from the Mark Davis old concept art that didn't go into Disney World, but it's still a Western themed type resort. Can't be too tall because you would see it from inside the park there. So instead, you have this nice little, 2-story, maybe 3-story resort. But behind that area, this is where you could bring back the Circle D Ranch. Now, Circle D has left the backstage of Disneyland, and it's now in Corona and Norco area. But it would be nice to bring those horses back and all the wildlife back into the, at least to the resort. You lost the Big Thunder Ranch area. They're no longer there, but you could have Circle D back on location. You could go behind the resort, maybe have a little tunnel to get through, and you could do either a petting zoo or just have people randomly go over and see them. It doesn't need to be an attraction or anything big or overwhelming, just like kind of what the Tri-Circle D Ranch has been over at the Fort Wilderness in Magic Kingdom or in Disney World. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. I'm dreaming here. I know that's never going to happen, but it would be kind of cool. And then it'd be really easy even for those horses to get into Disneyland because you can still just cross the street right there and go through that emergency gate that they use already for emergency vehicles as they cross that tram route across Magic Way. Now, that's going right at the lake. It gets more western to the right, but if you go to the left, we could have more of a boardwalk, Martha's Vineyard combo style resort in the area, just kind of in the area that was proposed before. You have that whole area of AMC, and of course that's gone. There was a hotel that was supposed to go in this general area anyway. So you could have this lake with a boardwalk type atmosphere, and to the left you have a boardwalk style resort, and then on the other side you have like a Western style resort. But I feel like you could still have a lot of people go down to that area. You could still get through over to Disneyland Hotel, but I think that's just a whole fleshed out idea. I know this is not realistic, but it's just my thoughts.
Would a Circle D style thing be smelly?
It absolutely would.
Depends who you're asking.
But wait, this is a real question. I guess I've never really thought about it. But so are the horses like driven in daily from Corona? Or how are they getting to the park?
I think there are a couple horses. I see, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I please, somebody let us know.
You don't have to keep this in, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
I think there's like some sort of ranch of some sort, right?
There is a ranch in Corona.
Like on the property somewhere for them.
I think it's a smaller one, and I think there's only. Yeah. I think they get to stay for like a week at a time or something.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think they get a week, and then they change them out, and then they go back up to the ranch. But yeah, it could be smelly. However, the Circle D Ranch was on site before, and it was right behind Big Thunder Ranch, and I never smelt them before.
Yeah, I honestly, I've only ever smelled horses on Main Street. So, but well, for one, I would love the goats to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I miss them so much. Yeah, I want some sort of value resort, and I'm not sure if the right idea is to build a deluxe or moderate resort at the end of downtown Disney, and then just make Paradise Pier Hotel to be the value, or just to make it be the value resort. I wasn't sure how like grand they're going to get, but I agree there needs to be some sort. I know that Disneyland does not really separate their hotels like Disney World does into the different categories, but I really do feel like everything is so expensive to get in that Disney magic on property feel, that I really feel that they do need to make somewhere needs to be a value, whether they just, okay, fine, we're back to having, our old hotel that we purchased to be the value resort, and this new one is the deluxe, but they need to do something to kind of bridge that gap there.
Yeah, and I really do like your ideas, Joel, simply for the fact that it seems to make the whole area feel like you're in a resort, right? And so as it stands today, I feel like even with everything that's been changed, that it is still a local area. It's not really necessarily a vacation destination. I mean, it is, of course, but the value of what you can get outside of the parks is lacking right now. And so I think that's why we're having this conversation. And just the thought of being able to walk around into different themed areas is great. And so just give us anything really in those, those areas. Something to walk out of the park and into something different.
I think any of these type of things will be pretty far down the line now with everything that's going on. But it is fun to dream.
I mean, I don't know how far we're getting into it, but I really I have thoughts about the hotels that we have right now, but maybe we should say that for another podcast.
What theming would you like to see in if they were to build a hotel in downtown Disney? What theming would you like to see? What was it going to be? I literally do not remember.
There was no theming.
It was just going to be fancy hotel.
4-star, 5-star hotel.
Just fancy hotel.
Contemporary, but actually contemporary.
Yeah. I feel like if you're going to be a Disney hotel, you need to have a theme. That's what Disney is known for.
What was the name for the one that was going to go where River Country is? Or was?
I don't remember.
But that hotel that was supposed to go there that I think has been canceled. But I know a lot of people, and I know, Derick, you stressed how you were not a fan of it not having a full theme, and I get what Disney... Oh. Because I know they're going...
Was it Reflections or something?
Reflections, yeah, something like that. But I understand what they're going for, because it still had woodsy feel, but a very green location build that it's still very modern, and a lot of people could still really, I think, not relate to it, but feel comfortable with it and feel like they're living or staying at a very luxurious hotel while not having the full-on Disney theming that we love so much. I think there's a lot of people that just want some nice hotel, and I think that's how they can break into that.
You can get that at the Hilton.
Yeah, go to the partner hotels.
Save yourself a bunch of money. Go to the Hilton. I mean, Florida has tons of hotels that are not Disney themed, that are nice and beautiful. You can get that anywhere else and pay half the price. I feel like if you're going to go for the Disney experience, you want something themed. And I'm not necessarily saying it has to be a full, huge theme like the Star Wars hotel where you're immersed in every second you live and breathe Star Wars. Right. But I just feel like you need to have a consistent theme. The theme could be lush, jungle luxury. I don't know. I don't know what the theme was. I mean, but I feel like it has to have a specific theme in order for you to be paying that money. Otherwise, you literally might as well stay at any other nice hotel in the area.
I think what's different with Reflections is that you have the access to Fort Wilderness Lodge area, and you're right off of Bay Lake. So you have some extra amenities that you wouldn't have at the Hilton.
Sure, it's beautiful, but I'm just thinking, for me as a person booking rooms, is that enough to make me pay that extra money rather than an equally beautiful hotel that has its own water park and all this other stuff that's literally right there in Florida, 2 miles down the road, still within the Disney World compound. I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't know why we're talking about Disney World. That was not the theme. Sorry, guys. I brought it all to the crazy place.
That's okay. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate everybody coming on here and taking the time to really looking at what they want to see over at DCA and some of the potentials over at Downtown Disney. And I hope this has been kind of soothing or therapeutic for some people listening. So
I just hope, though, that, whatever they decide for Downtown Disney, that they decide it soon, because it's really sad to see everything closed up at the end of the line there by the hotel. So I don't know. I know they had a plan of action and it went south, and we haven't heard anything since. So,
well, whatever happens, I feel like we just know that Earl of Sandwich will survive whatever happens. It's just going to be there.
They did say that.
It's never leaving. It's never leaving.
They said
going to build around it.
In the new hotel that
I know it's coming back. Don't worry. No, it's never leaving.
Be there.
I would love to see Disney Springs come to Downtown Disney.
In what way?
Well, I just love the way that they.
Joel was trying to end this episode.
I know. I'm sorry. I just kind of ran on my own tangent. Were we done? Sorry.
I was starting the closing segment, but it's okay. So Disney Springs.
Well, no. I mean, I was just really impressed with what they did with the whole Disney Springs area, and I feel like some of that level of theming could be given to Downtown Disney. A lot of the way that Downtown Disney is themed right now feels very outdated.
It's very
with, like, those-
a mix of different
Yeah.
styles also, yeah.
The
But see,
plastic birds of paradise. I mean, come on.
but you see, Derek, that's where people will argue and debate that, hey, they don't think there's any theming to Disney Springs. Yes, you have the one area with the springs, but you have the one area that's just like an outdoor mall, which I think is fantastic and is needed and is nice and good for the locals there as well. But it is not necessarily the theming that some people are wanting.
True,
Well,
but
I mean,
Downtown Disney doesn't have any true theming either.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah. So at least
Yeah.
make it look nice.
Yeah.
The theme
It
is
getting
plastic
dated.
birds of paradise.
Did you not like the neon tinsel trees for Christmas, Derick?
Mm,
Don't get me started.
they were
on that.
okay.
I think Matt and Braden liked those a lot.
I honestly did not have a problem, but you know my feeling about Christmas, so you can do a lot with the Christmas stuff and get away with it with me. So
Yeah.
I'm not a
Those
fair
weird halos.
I'm not a fair judge of Christmas decorations.
Some of it's meant to be tacky, and I guess
All
that's
right.
what they were going for.
Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun, guys. Thanks. Thanks for taking the time to talk about this. All right. Well, everyone, until our next happy hour, you can find us on social media. I'm going to have Beth let us know where you can find us.
Yeah, hey guys. You can find Off Harbor in Maine on both Twitter and Instagram at Off Harbor.
And me.
No, it's just at Off Harbor. You not know our own. It's at Off Harbor. You can find myself on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Pixie Dust Vibes. You can find Joel on Twitter. He is at Tangaroa Joel, and on Instagram at OC Escapism. And Derick, he is nowhere, relatively speaking.
I'm trolling all your other
Stupid
social
Derick.
medias. Come with me, guys. Let's go troll.
Well, thank you, Beth. We truly hope you've enjoyed listening, and perhaps this has provided some hope about the future of DCA. As always, if you're liking what you're hearing so far, please don't hesitate to share amongst your friends. And of course, leaving us an Apple Podcast review helps bring visibility to the show. Regardless, we truly thank you for joining us. And with that, remember, we all share the common bonds of hope and sorrow, dreams and joys. Stay well, and cheers.
Cheers.
Hello, and thanks for listening. See, I hate starting it off because I feel like that hello comes in so strong. And then
Hello.
well, I always have to adjust it on when I'm editing it because the hello always comes in really
Say it a little
really
bit
strong.
sadder. Be a little more sad when you say it.
hello.
A little somber. Yeah, a little more Eeyore. Good.
Hi there.
I think we're going to start off with Derick. What are your thoughts?
I thought we were gonna follow your lead on this one.
Oh, are we doing that?
Yeah, I thought you were starting this one.
Oh, okay. Stay well and cheers.
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 Oh my God. Okay, ready?
Zicky zacky, zicky zacky.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi.